Okay, hi Year 10, welcome to this series of revision videos for your physics assessment. I'm going to start off by talking about how our ideas about atoms have changed over time. There are just a few key people that you need to know the names of. So starting with an early model of an atom by a guy called Y10 Thompson. We refer to his model as the plum pudding because it looks a bit like a Christmas pudding. And you need to recall that this model involves a positively charged sphere with negatively charged electrons dotted throughout it. So J.J. Thompson knew about electrons. They are the first subatomic particle that is named in these models. Now later on, Rutherford and Marsden did an experiment that involved firing alpha particles at a piece of gold. If J.J. Thompson's plum pudding model had been correct, this is what they predicted would happen, that those alpha particles would pass straight through in straight lines and come out the other side. However, when Rutherford did his alpha scattering experiment, he made these observations where, although most of the particles went straight through, a few got deflected by smaller angles, and even fewer, this is a very rare event, the alpha particles were deflected through very large angles and detected back on the same side that they'd been fired from. And this meant that these observations of Rutherford led to a new model. We change our model in science when the model we were using can no longer explain observations that we're making. So Rutherford had made these strange observations, and therefore he proposed a new model of the atom where most of the mass and all of the positive charge was concentrated in a nucleus in the center of the atom. At this point, Rutherford described these positive nuclei, the particles in the positive nucleus, as protons. Later on, neutrons were proved to have existed, and the new model of the atom looks like this diagram here, with a central positive nucleus with most of the mass of the atom concentrated at the center, being orbited by negatively charged electrons. Now in this topic you're learning about nuclear reactions, nuclear radiation, and so when we're talking about nuclear, remember we're saying from the nucleus. So when we're talking about alpha and beta and particles later on, remember you are thinking about this is coming from the nucleus. Okay, following on from Rutherford, Niels Bohr took Rutherford's model and further adapted it to what you would recognize as a model of the atom that we use at GCSE, which has the electrons orbiting in these fixed energy levels. And then a little bit later, James Chadwick proved the existence of neutrons. Rutherford and Bohr had suspected that they would exist, and we had now had a way of explaining the mass of an atom. Remember that within this atom, you've got equal numbers of positive protons and negative electrons, and so the overall charge on an atom is always zero. Moving on to look at the subatomic particles individually, recall that protons in the nucleus have a positive charge and a mass of 1, that neutrons also in the nucleus have no charge and also have a mass of 1, and orbiting around the outside you've got electrons that are negatively charged and have a very small mass. We say their mass is negligible, so small that we don't count it.